Now, viewers, three Indian automakers, TVS Motor, Bajaj Auto and Hyundai India reported their third quarter earnings today. It was a mixed bag, but there was a key theme binding them together, a rural rebound and EV focus. My colleague Tushar is joining us with more details on this.
Three Indian automakers, TVS Motors, Bajaj Auto, as well as Hyundai India, reported their third quarter earnings today. Mixed bag of sorts, but there was a key theme that was running through all these three companies, that was that the rural is very much in focus, as well as the electric overdrive that is likely in 2025. First up was TVS Motors. Numbers were healthy, but what stood out was the company's commentary on EV sales. Sales of the iQube electric scooter have jumped by about 57% year on year to about 76,000 units in the October-December period. The wholesales and exports again being a good trigger for the earnings, are up 10 odd percent to about 12 lakh units in the 3 months of October to December. Next up was Bajaj Auto. Again, a healthy set of numbers. Earnings were powered by the revival in exports as well as the surge in the EV business. According to the company, the EV business is now a profit-making enterprise, but it's still the electric three-wheeler business whose gains are offsetting the losses in the electric two-wheeler space. But Bajaj Auto was also confident. It actually had a line of sight on when the Chetak business will turn positive in terms of the EBITDA. The next was Hyundai India. Muted quarter. Actually, profit dropped by about by a fifth. Revenue was muted, and these numbers were attributed to geopolitical risks that weighed on exports, as well as muted demand at home, which were only propped up by discounts. What the company said, that the margins as well as the revenue were impacted by lower sales and heavy discounting. The company believes that the industry will grow in single digits and its own performance will be in line with the industry. But what all these three companies said was that there is a significant uptick or green shoots visible in the rural space. Remember, that's not been the case in the last couple of years, but that's significantly happening now. What is actually a bit of a concern is that urban growth is completely lacking. There is no sign of any growth going ahead. The companies attribute, especially Hyundai, attributed this to higher interest rates, but how the current quarter pans out is something that everybody has to wait and watch.
Right, Tushar, thank you for bringing us that angle to the results. Now, China's DeepSeek has caused a shake-up in the Silicon Valley. But where does India stand in this AI arms race that seems to be emerging between the US and China? And if a Chinese startup can set up a large language model that is taking on ChatGPT, why can't India and its exceptionally skilled and large IT workforce? My colleague Himakshi Bahuguna caught up with Professor B. Ravindran, the head of Vadhwani School of Data Science and AI at IIT Madras, and she began by asking him about the DeepSeek saga and how it started. Listen in to that conversation.
What DeepSeek has really done is to not necessarily surpass the existing models in performance, but match it at a fraction of the cost that you would take to process every query that the user would give the system, right? So if you are using, most people are actually using GPT-4, right? OpenAI's latest offering, GPT-4 or 4.0, at the back end for building their services. And the cost that you would have to pay a DeepSeek for the same service is literally about a tenth of the price, right, of this models. And that is what has really, shaken the AI industry itself, right? And also further, DeepSeek itself has released the entire model in an open domain, right? So anybody, if they want, can actually download the model, right? And if they have the capacity, if they have the GPU capacity at their site, they can run it locally. Right? They don't actually have to go to China and run the queries and get the answers back. Right? And Perplexity is one of the bigger companies that has already done it. So they are offering the same DeepSeek service, but from a model that is served from outside China. Right? So they've basically taken the model, and you can access DeepSeek through Perplexity, but you don't have to go to China. So these kinds of serving models are going to come up very quickly, and this is certainly going to shake up the business plans of all the biggies. Right? So that's why there's so much excitement about it.
Right.
And so technically, what DeepSeek has done is actually taken a lot of clever ideas that people have been working with for several years, right, and put all of them together in a complete package, right, that allows them to do both training of the models, right, which is essentially ingesting all the data and coming up with the basic LLM model, and also what is called inference, right? So when you are actually submitting a query, when you are using it as an end user, right? When you're submitting a query, what amount of compute that gets done, right? That also has been slashed significantly by some clever tricks that they have been able to string together. It's not that they have done something that is the community was not aware of. Putting all these things together certainly makes it an amazing engineering feat that they have done.